there's a lot of great teams here, but I don't want to pick one team, but if I had to pick two teams that I'd like to see in a final, that'd be Virtus.pro and North. I think both of them have star quality. I think, you know, getting to see Kirby on the level we saw him when he was in Astralis would be a joy for their eyes. So I'm hoping for them to return to form, and I hope that this tournament will deliver.
I'm sure it very much will, Pim. Looks like we're about to jump into our first map of the ESL Pro Tour here at Open Leipzig. Big going to be starting on the T side. Now, not under this particular roster, but of course it was Inferno that saw them go pretty far at a previous major through some shenanigans.
It's a map they like playing for sure, and it's a map they definitely have been preparing on. We heard them in the interview saying they've been boot camping for quite some days, so they're coming into this tournament prepared. We get to see what they have in store for us in this pistol round. We see two guys have brought up the nades, that's Tabson and Tizian. Interesting that Tabson is one of the guys buying up the nade shoot. You'd argue that he's one of the aim-strong players in this lineup, but he's being a team player in this scenario. Brought up the nade, smoke, and flash, and it seems like they want to end on this A-bomb side.
Only Buster's here, but he's playing more contact. He can pass away from the site, give this one up, call to the rest of his team. They haven't completely bit down on this, though. They haven't rotated any players across. They themselves have some utility, an incendiary smoke, flash, and a kit. So retake's not going to be out of the question here, Pim, but it does seem like we're going to start to see that B-hit come into fruition. They're going to realize the site's pretty much open, but Buster through the smoke into the head is Sirson. What a start to the round for VP.
Yeah, that's going to make this retake a little bit easier. That's a good grenade from Tizian, though. He's no armor right here, though, so it's going to be tough for him. He needs to hit the first bullet. He can't do that. James takes him down, and now this retake looks much more likely to happen. There's still a Molotov on Sanji as well.
This is where you're wanting that incendiary to be tossed down into one of these back corners. Lots of damage inflicted to VP, but Kicker does come out ahead of Zantares, leaving Tabson and Keto remaining. As you highlighted, Tabson, one of the most skilled players, but there's not much he can do when a bullet's put in the back of his head. And VP with a flawless retake, don't lose a single player.
No, that was a little bit disappointing for Big Clan, right? They got that bomb site totally for free. Buster, a little bit lucky getting a shot through the smoke, but that happens sometimes. You got to take that into account. Big weren't able to win the duels. You know, they should have won at least one or two of those duels. You saw the players from Virtus.pro being low on HP, but if you don't get the kills, it's gonna be tough for you to hold on against that retake, right? There's too much manpower coming in against you, too many different angles you have to be worrying about. So Big Clan, despite not killing anyone in that round, they were somewhat close of actually pulling off that pistol round. So it's not the best start for them, but at least it should give them some confidence that they got the read right in this one.
Confidence and indeed some options now. It has been a hotly discussed topic about the current economic situation in Counter-Strike, especially on the T side. With that bomb plant, they could feasibly go for some rifles here if they so chose. So it'll be interesting to see if they do pull the trigger or not.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these so-called Superman plays where you get one or two players to buy up an AK, on SG for that matter, drop it to their teammates, who then buy up armor and drop a deagle in return for the SG or the AK. So you have two guys who have the full set of utility, so to speak. They have the gun and they have the armor. I don't know whether that's a smart thing for a team like Big Clan to do. I don't think they have that player where you feel, you know, it could be Tabson, it could be Shantaris. Obviously, they have the skill ceiling to do that, but I feel Big is the team that needs to rely on the team play. They need to rely on the structure. The analysis panel talked about Gob B being the mastermind behind this together with Toby, the current coach. You know, they need to have a set plan coming into a game like this, and I wouldn't start to deviate from that too much in the beginning. I would just stick to the plan, you know, make sure that you get the economy under control. As we see on your screen as well, they decided not to go for the buy, and I like that approach from Big Clan. Play into your own strengths, make sure you have all the utility, make sure you can execute your plans with the grenades, and then let Virtus.pro have a round for free here.
Do still have some firepower in the form of deagles at the very least, so the one-tap potential still on the table. A couple smokes do remain. Banana control being established early on by VP, courtesy of Buster. Going to be chased down by a Dren just behind him. And so far, VP in pretty solid positions, and there's no utility, as you highlighted before, Pim, to really get them out of these close angles either. This is where the MP9 could very well shine and get a whole bunch of kills.
Yeah, there's not a lot to do for Big Clan. What they hope for here is to get a few cheeky kills, maybe get an opening that could rotate around the Virtus.pro players a little bit. But apart from that, it's going to be up to Tizian with the deagle. It's going to be up to Tabson. Buster takes down Tizian here, though, so that's going to make it way harder. They have no control. There we go. That's what we're talking about. Tabson getting a kill. We see Buster down to 10 HP. There's a bit of an opening here for Big, and that's what you want. You want the players to rotate around. You see them come in here. Shantaris, can he hit this shot? Then that's a round open. Seeming likely though.
Bomb's going to go down under his tutelage and cover. So again, a decent round by Big. They didn't really put too much into this other than the 4 Deagles. Minimal investment, and they could still take this round yet. A weakened up Buster just on the periphery. The FAMAS-wielding James is trying to feel out where these T's are. They now know both of them are on the site. They're going to try and close in. This is where Deagle can be so very deadly, but VP with another successful retake. However, this is going to mean the Big have a very solid buy coming through into the 3rd round.
Yeah, that's a success, right? They get the bomb plant, they get 2 kills in Tapson. Jantaris arguably could have gotten another kill, but still it's going to put on pressure on the economy of Virtus.pro. And as you said, Big Clan, they didn't buy anything into this round. A few deals, that's it, no utilities. So they're going to have everything they want and everything they need in order to execute their plan for the following round. Whereas you look towards Virtus.pro now, for whatever reason, Buster's down to 78 HP. There must be a grenade or something, but they also have 2 FAMASs, right? And they also have Stilson taking down James. That's a great start, taking down the star AWPer from Virtus.pro. Exactly what Big needed.
Yeah, great start. Again, a solid buy has been implemented.
I wonder how Buster lost 22 HP.
I think he got a love tap from a teammate's knife.
Yeah,
I think he got a left click at spawn. It was very early in the round.
You see that a lot in matchmaking, don't you?
Yeah. It always happens. You play Face It, you expect the team damage to be off, and then suddenly I've just right-clicked a mate and I've been kicked. Oh, lovely.
Well, Sheer not mad at humans.
You can also see the impact that has early on for VP in the sense of their rotation. They've actually drawn Adren away, so B site's open, and they don't actually have any nades on Buster, so that's the importance of that early pick, as you highlighted.
Surely is. It's going to be all up to defend this bomb site. He's going to have this duel. He's going to be taken down by Tapson. That's going to be it. This should be that round done and dusted. As you can see in the minimap right now, none of the Virtus.pro players are rushing over to this A bomb site. There's nothing they can do about it. That's it, right? As you said, they get the opening pick on James. They slowly but surely take banana control. They play around with the rotation of the Virtus.pro players, and all of a sudden it's all up to Adrian to win a duel. He loses that one, and that is round over. So Big Clan, yes, down 2-0, but I would say right now, you know, they got the best start of the game. They got the right reads going on. They seem to be in control, and now they're going to put on a lot of pressure on Virtus.pro's economy. Next round, they're still going to be able to afford a buy since they're most likely going to survive 3 players. None of the big guys can really afford to go hunting, but apart from that, next round could be a so-called key round where Big can really break Virtus.pro from the get-go.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the terror of the CT's economy in a nutshell. Even if you do start off in a 2-0, if you take casualties, you know you're only 1 loss away from being right back into the dumps again. Hence the early save. Inferno is one of those maps as well, though, Pimp, that retakes can be a real nightmare on. So when you have 3 players left in low economy, it just makes sense to pull the plug.
Yeah, it was the right play by Virtus.pro. As soon as Adrian died on the A-bomb side, there was nothing to do, right? They knew that from the get-go. Adrian wasn't able to get this kill. Nice by Tapson, and that's it. So both teams, you know, making the correct decisions, but in this case, it was just Big, you know, getting the kills and getting the job done, so to speak. That has to follow up now. Another round here where they got the full buys. So does Virtus.pro. See, once again, this banana control is not being contested by Virtus.pro. I'm a little bit surprised that they decide to play so defensively towards the banana. You often see a lot of grenades and a lot of utility being used in the beginning, sort of to put pressure on Big, but they just get banana control for free. They're not even 25 seconds into the round, and you should already feed 2 big players up all the way on banana. So they got a lot of map control already. That's great for the big guys.
Maybe still feeling the reverb of losing those 2 players early in the previous round. At least this does keep them with 4 smokes still in hand. They can stall off and stymie the push for quite a considerable amount of time. It's only James taking the first point of contact on Arches with the AWP. He can take that shot and pull back. Meanwhile, his other 2 teammates are playing very passively back on the site. So they've given up a lot of control here, Pimp, already.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I understand this coming in from Big Clan. When you get banana control that early in a round, you just want to walk up and take mid control. If you control both banana and middle, you basically have Virtus.pro where you want them, right? You can mess with the rotation, you can make them second guess, but for whatever reason, they didn't decide to take mid control, and Virtus.pro have had that throughout the entire round here, so they must know that it's going to be towards this A-bomb side. They have 2 guys lined up, Buster with a smoke as well. That's going to be tough for Big to break through. Adrian in a good position here. It is a FAMAS though. We know that's not always as reliable as an Inferno.
Less bullets, but he does have Buster watching his back, and it's Molotov, an island of fire they have to walk over, and all their feet have been burned. It's looking ominous at best for Big. Beautiful flashbang, perfectly timed in Jane on the rotation, finds a Tizian out in the open. Easy pickings in the end, and Sirson can only really watch and try and save the AWP. So VP, hot off the back of having a bit of a rough round in 3, able to bounce right back in 4, and they only lose 1 player in the process.
Yeah, and I think that's a big mistake coming in from Big Clan here. The fact that they got banana control that early in the round. VP didn't use any utility. They didn't contest it at all. So Big must have known that there's a lot of utility to defend when we do the hit. So you gotta make pressure elsewhere on the map. You gotta take mid control, or at least you gotta drag out the utility on that A-bomb side to make sure that you don't run into fire and smokes like they just did here. So it's kind of basic in the world of Counter-Strike, but obviously when you're playing and when you're on the server, it's hard to always notice what's going on the map. But in a scenario like this, they must have known that they were running into a fire.
Well, the young blood of Quito is first in, but he's not going to get the first kill. Flashbang in the eyes of Buster, who is yet to die. May very well have his fortunes turned if they push behind this. But they're going to decide against it, which is maybe for the best. 3 players from VP now occupy over on the B side, leaving just Kickert on his lonesome with the SG in middle. This is typically the side they've Molotoved and smoked on arches. They're going to do it again, so we can't see anything. And he's just hoping for the best at this stage. Again, I think they're going to go for a gamble here, though. If they obviously lose A, they just try and save on the B side with these 3 players, but they are moving over Jane.
Yeah, it's kind of in between right now, the gambling on both horses, so to speak, and it's going to be up to Kickert here. If he can get 1 or 2 kills, there's a chance. He lines up the first one, not able to connect the second one. There we go, another kill from Kickert. He stays alive now, so the rotation is coming in from Virtus.pro. This is not looking good for Big. That's what though taps and takes down. Sorry, Shantaris takes down 2 guys. James through the smoke as well. A little bit lucky, and there we go. As soon as they were starting to look scary for Big Clan, they turn it around. Nice play by Shantaris. Very important double kill he got right there. But Kickert on that bomb side, he did everything correct, right? He got 2 kills, he stayed alive, he allowed for the rotation to come in. What they didn't take into account was that there was a guy called Shantaris, and seemingly he's ready to play Counter-Strike this time around.
If he has an upward trend in his just overall form, Big are going to be a real nightmare to contend with, because as you said, going back just a year or so, one of the most skilled players in the world. He's known as the Turkish Terminator for a reason. The guy would just flick it on and everyone would fall in his wake. So yeah, if he wakes up, VP are in trouble.
Let me put it this way, there's a lot of good players out there. There's a lot of players who have a great skill set, a lot of players who can make it big time and can be a star player on certain teams. But there's a very few players who get me excited when I watch them play, and Shantaris is one of them. This is just beautiful, right? And we know, as you said, how good he can be. When he's on his peak form, I firmly believe that he is one of the most skilled players in the world. So yes, he's a great player. He hasn't showed it as of late. Last year was a very disappointing year for him personally, but also for Big Clan. But if he gets going, he's one of the few players out there who gets me real excited.
Meanwhile, though, VP only going to have an SG to play with. It is the saving Buster, who's still yet to die. Constantly avoiding death. Adren, in the meanwhile, going to be backing away on Banana.
Another slow approach coming in from Big Clan. They want to take mid control, and that's a great call. Sancho going down to Shantaris. Tapson as well with a kill, and that's it. The double duo of Shantaris and Tapson. You want to see them perform. You want to see them do well. And this round is more and more likely to go the way of Big. Slowing it down here, no need to take any unnecessary risk. I like the slow approach, I like the smart approach. They're making sure to cover off the grounds. They smoked off mini pit as well. Now they're moving into this bomb site. There are 2 guys on the side, but that's not gonna matter. Tapson's gonna take down one of them, Kilo the other one, and there we go. An easy round for Big Clan. It's gonna make it 3-3. Buster now with an SG. All he can hope for is to save it and bring it into the next round. But I like the approach from Big Clan coming in here. Slow and steady, methodically taking the map control, making sure always to have trade frag potential. This is Counter-Strike 101. That's how you want to play on a map like Inferno. So kudos to Big for doing that.
And if you compare that to the previous round, where you were highlighting that they tried to execute on B with 15 seconds, they'd done nothing to draw out grenades, it's completely the opposite way around. Sure, VP though, we're on pistols and a low buy, but the way that Big approached that round does make you excited for the rest of their T-half.
It always helps when you're just facing pistols, obviously, yeah, but it's the mental state of the game, right? It's the fact that we've now seen 6 rounds of Counter-Strike, and I'd say that Big Clan in pretty much all of them had the right idea. They've been going into the right bomb sites, they've been reading out the rotations of Virtus.pro. They just lack a little bit of that execution and understanding of how to drag out the utility before they make the big hits. So still a very open game, 3-3 now, and I think both teams are starting fairly well. good to see Tapson having some impact early on. Good to see Shantaris having some impact early on. I need to see that. I need to see those two from Big Clan go off, because I think that will be the key for them. Not only to win this game, but if they want to have a great tournament this weekend, we need to see those two players go off. And if they do, as you said, I think we have a Big Clan that can be scary for anyone to beat.
Oh, k1to has been obliterated on Banana, down to just 8 health from grenades. There's not too much utility elsewhere, though, on the belts collectively of VP. We've been speaking about Big's players to really watch out for. k1to's had a great start to this best of one thus far. But James hasn't really had the levels of impact that we'd be hoping for, so they're going to be hoping that changes momentarily. 3 for 3 with 60 ADR. Not a bad start, but with that AWP, surely he's got to try and turn his fortunes back around.
It's a very interesting approach from Virtus.pro as well. Look how far back they're sitting. They're sitting back on A bomb side, they're sitting back on B bomb side. They're not really taking any duels. They obviously know that the utility they have right now is not good, and there we go. Citizen with impact getting the first kill. Buster responds back. But this could be it, right? They can get this bomb side now almost for free. Buster is forced into ruins. And Big Clan seems like once again they make the right read. Question is, can they execute on it? We need to smoke CT spawn here, Vince. You don't like that, do you?
They don't have one either. And the bomb has crossed, but he's by himself. 30 seconds left. Flashbang's being tossed in. Buster is watching on the side. This is a 4v4, but it's looking like it's going to go the CT's way. They still can't cross. Finally, k1to, though, does connect and domes k1to out the round with an AWP. That could be the deciding moment. Tizian now swings in for 2. The bomb's still yet to be planted. Buster's here. His HP is high enough to really go for this as well. He might catch them in rotation, in transition. He gives his position away, and they nearly line up for him. But Big are going to win the round with 5 seconds to spare.
Thank you, Tizian, for saving us right there. That must be the sentiment from the Big Clan right there. That was a terrible round. That was a terrible executed round for Big Clan. They got the right read once again. They won the opening duel. They got Buster pressured into runes, but they didn't execute on it, right? They kind of stalled. They kind of hesitated a bit. And when you do that at this level, you often get punished. This time around, though, Tizian was able to execute it himself. 3 kills, and finally, you know, I think he was 0 and 3 before this round, and then he got 3 kills in this one round. That's impact right there, and that's what you want to see from a guy like Tizian. Now that I do not understand. k1to running up all by himself against the Deagle. No trade frag potential. Goes down. There we go. Tapson gets the kill on Sanji, but here we go. 4 versus 3. This is falling apart from Big.
That's a real messy round. Centaurus, though, finally comes in with his SG, lays down the law, laying waste to 2. Only the 1-player advantage, and you can see how scrappy this is. Adren's able to run him right down Banana and try to get round the back of the T's. They have no idea. Now they found him, leaving Buster. 1 on 3, not much hope. But yeah, as you say, when k1to runs up and dies, you're thinking, not like this Big, surely.
Yeah, why would you do that? You know, both kills that Virtus.pro got was kills where the trade frag potential wasn't really there, so to speak. I don't know why the Virtus.pro player stayed in Archie. He should have just fallen back after he got the kill on k1to and then restructured the team. But luckily for Big, he didn't. Shantaris is once again showing up in these mid-round scenarios. It's not like he's closing out the rounds right now, but he has a lot of impact in the middle of the rounds, making sure they're swinging the way of Big Clan and making them essentially easier for them to win. We see James being aggressive down to middle layer, falls back straight away with the AWP. Citizen is also playing defensively. And once again, we see the approach from Virtus.pro. They're just sitting back. They're not contesting Banana at all. They're saving the utility. They're not really fighting it at all. And again, 25 seconds into this round, Big Clan have full Banana control. And if they want to, they could have full mid control as well. I want to see that approach, though. I'm kind of surprised that the coach from Big Clan haven't realized that yet. If you get Banana control, and if you get mid control, you can basically control the entire map. And that's exactly what they're doing right here, Big Clan. I like that.
Yeah, you can pivot to either site and really try and draw out those CT nades that are going to cost them long term. James still holding his position. He's watching both middle and boiler simultaneously, not giving himself much room for error, though. If he gets double pushed, he should be going down. However, smoke and Molotov deployed onto arches, going to force Sanji back into the arch more passively. Even though VP are giving up ground, they're doing a good job of holding onto grenades and really going to try and grind this round out again. Smoke into apps, allows James to focus his attention onto the quad side. Oh, I feel like Sanji's going to be a huge part of this round if VP are going to pull it off. The smoke to library really messed with them. And now they're going to try a wraparound, but there's no player in Banana to pivot off. They're all going to be stuck in a claustrophobic angle of Speedway. But tabseN does come out ahead. 17 seconds to go. Do they check the angle? They do, but Adren's still to line them up.
Oh my God.
The third. That's the round going to VP, unless a miracle happens in 7 seconds. But the Molotov is going to stop them from getting the bomb anyway. What a nightmare.
What a nightmare. That was a very well-executed round by Big Clan, up until that point. And then we saw Adrian step it up. This triple kill right here, they even hardcore check him, right? They were aware that there's a possibility he can be in this position. He just hits the shot straight off the bat. Triple kill, and there we go for Virtus.pro. We talked about him. The desk talked about Adrian as being a player that needs to step it up if we want to see Virtus.pro, you know, become one of the consistent top teams. We saw them at the major do well. Adrian wasn't necessarily playing well there, but that's the potential of this lineup. If he's finding form like he had in Gambit, I think Virtus.pro could be one of the best teams in the world, you know. And when I say one of the best teams in the world, I'm talking a consistent top 10 team right now, which is a very competitive field to be part of. Good to see him stepping up. We've seen Shantaris play well so far. We've seen tabseN do some individual plays, and now we see Adrian as well. Arguably the 3 best players on the server together with James. So we see the stars showing up, and that's always a great sign for a tournament like this.
Oh, it really is, especially after a player break when everyone's itching to watch Counter-Strike again. You start to see these players shine in the early stages of what will be 3 days packed full of Counter-Strike action. Again, on the line is a spot in the Masters event. Not a small thing at all, but Buster has taken the head off csgo, and then tabseN peaks instantly afterwards, just before the smoke plumes. 2 free frags for VP.
Once again, the SG prevails. It's something that's been up in the discussion now. We're going to see that as much this year as we saw it last year, given the price going up in the SG, but it seems like that's still the favorite gun. And a nice flash coming in here from Kickert. Sanji able to pick up that kill on Tizian relatively easy, and this round is going the way of Virtus.pro. There's no need to take any risk. James knows that. He falls back. Now it's up to the individual players of Big to see if they can fight back, and I think they decide to save this one. Bring in the guns to the next round. You can see in the economy, csgo is sitting on $6,700, so there's money for the Big Clan to buy into next round if they're able to save these 2 guns. So once again, making the right call, but just to move back to the point I was talking about before, we saw the SG being a very dominant gun, you know, in the early stages of 19 and in the middle of the season, but kind of faded out at the end, but it seems like it's been picked up again, right? The price going up in the SG is not going to make that gun less effective, and I think we're seeing the cause of that right here, right now. There was 2 relatively easy kills for Buster right here. He didn't even have to fight for it.
Oh, this is why the SG, when it gets across into the CT side, is just a whole different beast, because you can watch those angles all day long. It kind of picks up that position at the AUG, whereas the SG was nerfed, but not overly. I feel like the AUG really has fallen out of favor quite a bit. The SG plays that same position as the AUG used to. Seeing teams like ENCE, for example, dominate with the AUG. Liquid had their moment as well. So it is that kind of gun you definitely don't want to lose.
I agree, and it's you know, you can advocate for both. Some would say that that's another tactical aspect to the game. Do you want to buy the ST on the T side and risk giving it over to the CTs, as you just saw here? Buster basically himself won the entire round just by having the ST at hand. Or do you want to play with the AKs and not risk anything at all, you know, but also give yourself less of a good chance to win the round? It adds that element to it, and I think we have to appreciate it while it's here. Whether it's going to be reduced, whether it's going to be nerfed once again, we don't really know, right? There's only a few guys out there in heaven who knows that, and Valve, but interesting it is, and Buster so far making the best out of it.
csgo feeling the impact. Nice flick though to Kickert, getting aggressive towards apps after the tactical timeout was deployed.
That's interesting, right? We haven't seen James do anything with the AWP basically, right? He's been trying a few times to get aggressive towards middle, but he's falling back every single time. Either he's just feeling it, you know. We know he's a defensive AWP player, but he's not really feeling for the aggressive plays here on Inferno. Now he's being pushed into the side with an AWP. Not the best position to be in, but look at the minimap right here. They've completely abandoned the A-bomb side. Stacking up 4 guys towards this one. Question is, does Big know that? Are they reading this correct?
They have sent 2 lambs potentially to the slaughter to find out the information about the gun. Protruding around the corner with Shantaris. That second shot must have been so slick. He must have spun to library instantly afterwards. I love to see that again. James and Sanji, in the meanwhile, though, they have pieced out. They want no further part of this round. They have an AWP and an M4. It's James time, well and truly. Can't blame him necessarily, though.
Can't blame him, no. That's the third time, I believe, we see Shantaris getting a double kill in the middle of the round. I talked about it before. He's not the one closing out the rounds. He's not necessarily opening up the rounds either, but as soon as it gets into a 4 versus 4, as soon as it gets into that middle ground where you have to determine the outcome of the round, or at least the odds of you winning it, Shantaris have 3 times now gotten a double kill in just 11 rounds. That's impact at a high level, and that's exactly what you want to see from that guy. He's such a skilled player, and as you said, we didn't get to see that second kill, but that must have been slick.
That was the moment. If they both go down without much of a fight and just go with the whimper, the retake is well and truly on. I think we're about to see it here. So yeah, first kill into Arch, flicks across to the header buster. No scope required.
That's 30. That's just 30. You know, that's skill right there. Despite having an SG, sure, it makes it easier in that sense, but you would have done the same with an AK. He was feeling that one, I tell you. I tell you right now. And we see another buy round for both teams, right? This is another key round in the game. We see Big Clan, they're starting to make waves up 6-5. If they win this one, it's going to be a good grenade on James. Look at that, down to 26 HP. Feels like he headbanged that one. Well, he does it all, James, doesn't he?
Oof. There's a hefty amount of nade damage also inflicted as Keto gets tagged again, down to 41, but Surson took another nade on the forehead. Big have been catching them in the pockets over and over again, but at least they do equalize. Of course, no way of absolutely knowing that James was hit by it, so they can't really push behind that information, but Big again, no big surprise, they're taking middle control. They're already getting up there with 1 minute and 10 left.
Yeah, and they're being allowed to by Virtus.pro. They're really playing it very defensively. They've been doing that throughout the entire game, both on the A bomb side, but also on the B bomb side. Really giving up a lot of space to Big, and you can argue that that's fine, because it doesn't really seem like Big knows what to do with it, right? It's not like they mess around the rotations. It's more like Virtus.pro. They're playing their own game. They're gambling, stacking, and gambling a lot of the rounds. So it's still them sticking to their own game plan. But Big is really giving a so to speak, big opportunity here to mess around with it for Virtus.pro. We see it again, 34 seconds left. It's going to be a hit towards this B bomb side, and 8-1 picking up another kill through the smokes. That's going to be vital.
He knows he can just cut off that angle. Even if he doesn't get kills, it's going to be hefty damage. They know it's going to be the push now. Sanji with 1. 2 kills have came back instantly, though, from Big. That's keeping the dream alive. They have the bomb on the site. It will get planted momentarily. So even though they took their sweet time and they took casualties on the approach, they still have the slight advantage now on the retake, especially as James and Adren are both tagged down. Just a Molotov and a smoke to play with a couple of flashbangs. Positions are solid on Big. 2 centrally on the site. Now all 3 players are tagged. We are getting towards the dying embers of this half, though. So VP may feel compelled to go for this, but no. They back out, they tap out, and Big will have a 7-5 lead.
I think that's the correct decision by Virtus.pro to tap out of that one. There's no way you're getting into that bomb side. You saw there was still a lot of utility on Surson. He had a Molotov, he had a flash still left here. He goes down to the bomb. Not that that's gonna matter anyway, but Big Clan, once again, they're getting the trade frag. They're utilizing the space they're given by Virtus.pro, and they're making it worthwhile, right? Even though they're losing the entry, so to speak, to 8-1, it doesn't matter, because they still get that bomb side control. They get the bomb down, they get into positions, and at that point, as you said earlier in the game, it's super, super tough on Inferno to retake a lot of the times, especially when your HP is down. So I think Virtus.pro, they're playing a little bit too defensively now. I would like to see them pick up some more aggression here the last 3 rounds on that CT side. Otherwise, I'm afraid on their behalf, that Big is just going to run away with it. You know, a 10-5 half or even a 9-6 half, that's a great result for the somewhat German squad here.
No doubt. Especially after, remember, they lost the first pistol. They lost the first round. It was 2-0. Tabson, though, he is going to switch up the pace. And he's going to get the rewards onto Sanji. Quicker, though, does get the kill through the box, but he's going to be silenced instantly afterwards. As Antares does get the avenging frag. There's a slight gap in the smoke. I was about to say it may catch Big off guard, but nope, Tiziad drills Buster in the head with his AK. And we're off for another save.
That's beautiful by Big. Picking up the pace, you know, we've seen them play relatively slow, take banana control, take mid control. That's been the story throughout the entire first half. This round, though, just straight up middle, go towards Arch, you know, make this split on the bomb side, and Tapson with another great entry kill, and we've been seeing him play well thus far. He's sitting at above 100 ADR, 12 kills into this game, and he's having a lot of impact together with Shantaris and Tizian for that matter as well. So it's a great start for Big Clan. It feels like they have a game plan, and they're able to change it up as well, you know, pick up the pace, surprise Virtus.pro, and once again, they're just sitting back. They're not doing anything. They're playing way too defensively for my taste right now. They need to do something. We need to see the guy on the screen right here have an impact with the AWP. He's sitting at 4 kills right now. It's not enough for James. He's supposed to be potentially the best player on the server, and right now, he's a non-factor.
Absolutely agree. He does have a good spawn to peek down Banana here, one of the best, but we have seen Big already implement tons of nades up Banana. Last round, James tried to peek it. He got burned down to 25 health, I think it was, somewhere around that mark, and it also contributed to the save. So I do wonder, from VP, that's why they're going to call a timeout, try and figure out what to do next.
But that's the thing, right? It's been so long, and it's so deep into this first half, the time might come. So if I'm Big Clan right now, I'm expecting them to be more aggressive. They know they faced Virtus.pro being defensive throughout the entire game. So what's the only thing you can do in order to change that up? Well, that's to be aggressive. So if I'm Big Clan, you should probably be aware of what's coming. Take another round where you're just slowly but surely trying to take the banana control, see what the response from Virtus.pro is, and then try to feel your way out of that. And that's the problem with doing the late timeout, right? You have no room for surprises, so to speak. There's only one adaptation, and that's to be more aggressive. And I think we're going to see that from James right here, right now, towards banana. There we go.
He's going to be flashing himself out. He's been tagged, he's been fragged, and it's just gone the same way. Oh, Keto, straight through 2 AK-47 headshots. That's the round pretty much wrapped up in a neat little ribbon. Unless VP have a hero in a Dren, Sanji, or Kicker. Their economy, again, doesn't really afford them a chance to go for this. And Dren spams up through the smoke, does take down Tabson, but it's a consolation frag. It doesn't really make a difference to how this round is going.
No, it doesn't. And it was like, that was like reading a bad book. You know, you knew how that was going to end, right? You knew exactly what's going to happen from James. He had a spawn towards banana. We talked about it. They need to be more aggressive. Big as well. They probably knew that was going to happen either towards banana or towards middle. So at that point, you know, if I'm Virtus.pro, you can't do anything about it now. But when you go back and look at this demo, you need to change up your playstyle earlier in the half. You need to make big second guess. What are we to expect now? When you do it this late and when you've only been applying one playstyle, the only adaptation you can do is to be more aggressive. And that's exactly what Big expected. So they send up Keto. He got the job done. And there we go. Another round for the German squad. And they're playing well right now. They can even afford to go hunting here. Doesn't matter whether they die or not. They have all the money in the world to buy up in this last round of the first half, and it's 9-5 wins. Personally, I'd be very happy if I were a Big fan right now.
Oh, I'd be ecstatic. You lose the pistol, you go 2-0 behind, you're fearing, okay, maybe this is going to be a bit of a rough start, and then when the rifle rounds have came round, it really has just been a one-sided affair. The German organization on home soil has been bossing this Inferno onto a whiff Molotov from Sanji. That's actually going to extend to a Dren. That forces out multiple smokes. That's an awful mistake.
Sure is, and once again, they're not willing to contest banana. They're not willing to contest it. Big Clan seem to have a great read of how to use their utility, but look at that. You know, with 25 seconds into the round, they have hardly spent any utility whatsoever. If you take a look at your screen, down right side, you see all the grenades lined up for the Big Clans. They haven't spent anything thus far, and they have full banana control. It's too easy for them. They're simply being given too much space by Virtus.pro right now. Question again remains, can they utilize it? Can they make something out of it? Comes down to killing, comes down to winning the duels, but as of right now, look at that. All the space is being gifted up, but they have a stack going on here, though, and that could be what's saving Virtus.pro. 3 guys in this bomb site. Is it enough?
Sanji wants to take first point of contact, but Tabson and Theater are cleaning house. VP,
no.
even with the stack, Pimp,
Yep.
you were highlighting it, you were setting up the play perfectly, and they still get wrecked.
Still get wrecked. Still get wrecked. You know, that's the utility, right? Big didn't spend any Molotovs at all to take the banana control. They didn't spend any flashes, any grenades, any flashes for that matter, you know. It was too easy. So when they do the execute on the bomb site, they have all the Molotovs, they have all the flashes, all the smokes at hand, and they were simply just one by one forcing out the Virtus.pro players. That's what happens when you play a little bit too scared and a little bit laid back. James, even with a nice kill here, is not able to do anything about this. Looks a little bit chaotic here, but he's going to go down eventually, and that's going to be first half done and dusted. There's nothing he can do about the outcome. Maybe get a consolidation before I can... Or get a knife in the back. Either way, there we go. Tishan doing him dirty, and I love it a lot.
Well, he's going to have to try and just mentally reset, and he's going to have a bit of time to do so. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break, guys. We'll be right back. In 2017's iteration of Leipzig, Big went the distance. And so far, so good, Pimp. They have looked very good on their T side. VP, though, they were asleep.
They were asleep. They were looking lackluster. They weren't really up for the task. Chance, Harris, Tapson, and Tizian in particular having a lot of impact frags. He's currently sitting at 6, but I feel he's had a lot of impact in the game, and that's something we often talk about. You don't necessarily only have to look at the frag statistics, whether you had a good game or not. Tizian's been playing well, and so has Big. Now we see them switch over to the CT side. Tapson very aggressive towards Banana with the USP here. He's going to see some action. 4 guys from Virtus.pro is walking up here. How's this going to pan out, Vince?
P250 can maybe rip and shred through a couple of players, but it's just the flashbang that's going to afford one. Tapson now next up to the plate, and you expect him to get the 3rd kill, a player of his caliber and skill level, but they peek out one too many times looking for the upgraded USP, and it cost him his life.
That's it. 3 versus 2 now for Big Clan. Good position. Tizian still aggressive towards Banana. If he goes down and he does to James, that's going to be it, right? The bomb side is open. Virtus.pro doesn't know that though, and they're not willing to act on it. Slowing it down, making sure the smokes comes in. Looks like they want to head up to this bomb side, but yeah, CT spawn is still open. That's Shantaris. We know how deadly he can be with a pistol. Smoke goes down, that's going to make it a tiny bit harder for him, and we're into a 2 versus 2, and this is always a gamble, right? It can always go both ways at this point. Shantaris is not able to find any gaps through the smoke. Question is he going to act on this one? Is he going to walk through it as soon as he gets the bomb plant? Or is he going to wait on his teammate? Looks like it's going to be the second option here.
Yeah, especially with that smoke going down. Can't really afford to do too much. It would be an audacious play if he decided to push through there, but now Searson has joined him. The backup has arrived. No kits between the two of them. No grenades to play off either. And James just the other side of the smoke. Santares gets totally surprised by that, and then James goes into Searson. So both pistols have gone the way of the T's, of VP.
A bit of a shame for Big Clan. They started out the round very well. Tapson getting 2 kills, Tizian following up, getting the 3rd one. At that point, I would like him just to fall back, go into the bomb site, put yourself in CT spawn, put yourself at coils, and just spot whether they're coming into you or not. And at that point, you can retake the bomb site. 3 versus 2s with pistol. That's relatively, wouldn't say easy, but it's doable. But if you go down and you go down and you make it a 2 versus 2, you get into a scenario like this where it becomes, you know, 50-50 or even advantageous for the terrorist side. So Tizian getting a little bit ahead of himself. I liked him just to fall back and not make that mistake.
Trent smacked down to just a measly 29 HP. That's off the scout of Searson, who continues to take the scope weapons into battle. Thing is though, as this round continues forward, it's where the superior firepower and grenades that VP possess should start to shine. The incandescence of the Molotov is going to force Antares at least to back away for the time being. He may go back in for another peek though with a deagle. You almost feel like you have to go for these gamble plays, but he's going to back away to the site and join his teammate Tizian.
What more can you do if you're Big Clan right now? You're kind of being pressured back on the bomb sites. Still a decent amount of utility to work with here. Tizian just used his smoke. Kido still got one. Shintaro still got one. That's what you want to do when you have pistols. You want to make sure that you get in close to a smoke. You get into a chaotic situation, and hopefully you can get a kill here. They're stacking up at this bomb site. Searson with the scout, not connecting. That would have been vital. Gets a connection, but it goes down as well, and that's not going to be enough. Kido, I don't know why he spent the smoke on that. That was not really necessary, but it's not going to pan their way anyway. Kido goes down as well. James with a double kill, Santi following up. That's it. There was potential for Big here, but again, it seemed like they didn't really have a plan with the stack. They were just stacking and hoping for the best. Whereas if you do want to do a proper stack, you need a certain plan. You need to think in your utility. Like, you have a smoke, how are you going to use it? If they come into you, if they're going to execute on us, how am I going to put it down? And how are we going to act off it? And it seemed to me like that was just a improvised decision by Big that didn't really pan out the way they wanted to.
I do wonder if that Keto smoke was like an attempt at like a 200 IQ play to try and fake as if a player was in U-box and extinguish
maybe,
it.
and they were actually looking towards that,
exactly,
right? They were
so
not really realizing
it.
he was there, so maybe that was the play, but at that point you're sacrificing your entire team, right?
Didn't work anyway, right?
No. And there's only so much you can do alone on a bomb site with a pistol against the 4 guys. So maybe it was a nice little trick play, but again, you know, if you do a stack like that, I would always prefer if you had a certain plan, you know, a certain movement pattern you would do in case you were getting attacked on, so to speak. But that wasn't the case here for Big Clan, and again, it's easy to sit here and be a perfectionist in that sense. It's very tough to do on the server, and there's so many different aspects of the game you have to master, so I'll let them be excused for this one, but still, there was potential for more in this round for Big.
They do manage to save 2 Deagles with Kevlar, so it gives them a little bit of power to play behind if they can get some guns across. Going for a stack, this time with all 5 players. And some nades. So if they time these 3 HEs correctly, we could see a tactical nuke being dropped on Banana. We'll have to see how many of the Ts are around to see it detonate. There we have it. Fireworks more than anything else for Bust Up. You got a front row seat. Oh, the nades back though are doing so much damage. It's carnage, it's mayhem, it's the slaughter, and it's a clean sweep of a round for VP. The stack doesn't work, but a buy is coming up.
Yeah, that was easy. I like the idea again. Big Clan, you know, even though it looked worse than the other round, at least they had a plan here. They tried to execute it. They didn't really hit the timing with the grenades. The grenades wasn't really landing that well either, right? Even though the VP players would have been up there, I don't think they would have done too much damage. So they tried, they had a plan, they executed it, didn't work out, but that's still, you know, that's good to see they have something prepared for rounds like that. So kudos to them for trying, and kudos to VP for dealing with it perfectly fine. Now Syrson being aggressive down the middle, and that's exactly what you didn't see Jane do. Didn't connect the shot though, that was a bit of a shame. Had the opportunity to open up the round for Big Clan, wasn't able to. And now he's falling back slowly but surely and allowing VP to continue with the default. That was close though, and I like to see the aggressiveness coming out from Big Clan. We did not see that from Virtus.pro, and I was a bit critical of that, so good to see Big Clan not doing the same mistake as we saw Virtus.pro do in the first half.
Hey, it took the words right out of my mouth. It's something that we didn't see VP do a single time on their CT side. You could see the disappointment in CSG's face as well. He knows he could have had that kill. Yeah. That could have been such a big moment on the CT side for them. Hefty nade damage to Sanji.
Very slow round, very slow approach by Virtus.pro. That seems to be the trend for them when playing Counter-Strike, at least in 2020 thus far. Playing it slow, taking it slow, not being overly aggressive, you know, trying to play with each other at all times, which I'm a fan of, but sometimes you gotta get going, right? You gotta unleash some of that individual skill you have. You have a guy like Kickert on your lineup, you have Buster for that matter, Adrian used to be one of the best players as well, Sanji, James, you know, all these players are good, solid players, so we need to see that utilized as well. 27 seconds here, looks like that's gonna be a B-go. Tizian and Pit though. How much damage can he do?
The smoke's being funneled down with a Molotov as well. It's going to force him out into the open. And that smoke stops anyone else from helping him out. There's a team kill in amongst the frenzy. James splatters Kickert. 8 seconds to go. The bomb's in an awkward spot. It's going to take them a little bit longer to get the bomb planted now. That gets the CTs that little bit closer in arches to try and pivot off for a retake. Damage inflicted to James as he catches his free off round. Flashbang perfectly timed. Adren gets hit by it. Has to switch to his Deagle. The heroics, the last stand isn't quite big enough. And now James on 6 HP is going to be knocked down. They had no kit, but they do have time.
They do have time. There was a great opportunity for Virtus.pro to win that one. 3 versus 2 when the bomb is down, that's definitely winnable. James again, sorry to say, but he's not having the best game of his life right now. We expect a lot from him because we know how good he can be. We've even seen him with rifles, you know, do some solid work this time around though. Wasn't connecting the shots. He had a chance, but wasn't meant to be. Tizian and Pit though. That second kill right there, that's vital. If Sanji survives that one, most likely there's not going to be a team kill. Most likely Virtus.pro wins the round. So well done to Tizian once again, having a lot of impact. Still only sitting at 9 frags, but I feel like all 9 of those have been very impactful, so credit to him given. Now another round for Virtus.pro, another buy, and again, a slow approach.
Big this time, not going for any early aggression. That grenade looked like it would do a lot more damage to Buster, just an HP. Has been evaporated. CS nades continue to be one of the most confusing things on the planet to me, Pim.
They don't make any sense, do they?
So inconsistent. Bomb dropped way back at spawn. Declaration of intent. VP going to have no quick rush to get into either side. They're going to be taking this one a little bit more methodically.
Yeah, it's very slow. Again, you know, I don't necessarily dislike it. I just would like to see Virtus.pro, you know, pick up the pace just once. We haven't seen that the entire game thus far. We haven't seen them be, you know, hyper aggressive on the CT side. We haven't seen them be aggressive on the T side, and I can respect them sticking to the game plan, but at some point, gotta change it up. Otherwise, it's gonna be too easy for Big Clan to read out. They're allowed to sit back on the bomb side, right? We are 40 seconds left of the round, and still no mid control acquired from Virtus.pro. Still no banana control. They left that one as well. So for Big Clan, they can just sit back, relax, and be ready for this hit. That's a good name. That's good spam as well. We saw Adrian do that in the first half as well. Now Shantaras follows it up with a Molotov as well. This is going to be tough for Virtus.pro. Very, very tough.
Exactly. They know it's going to be an A play now, so they can afford to go for these plays. Spanning up through smoke, showing their hand, tossing their nades, and they've done a very good job of managing their grenades. They still have an incendiary left and a flashbang. Adren now going to be moving through. 8 seconds to go. He's going to try and get the bomb planted in the smoke. And he does successfully get it down. Kicker, in the meanwhile, runs out of ammunition, has to switch to his Glock, but the smoke is going to offer him sanctuary to replenish that mag. And Adren comes back in with more. tabseN saving the life of his teammates on the site just for a little bit longer, and then chips in for a second and a third, and it's another successful retake. VP are getting so close.
That was a very chaotic round. There was a lot of duels going the way of VP, actually, that I think shouldn't have gone their way. They were so close of making it, but then tabseN walks in, gets the double kill, and finishes up the round. This guy on your screen right here, he's having one hell of a game thus far, sitting at 20 kills, a lot of impact. He's making sure that Big Clan now having a decent lead, and a lead that I would say should be enough for them to finish out the game 12-8. And again, we see Virtus.pro, they're buying up, but the utility is not there completely. Sanji lacking a little bit, James lacking a little bit. We haven't seen James have any impact in this game whatsoever. He needs to be utilized, he needs to step it up. Otherwise, I'm afraid, on behalf of all the Virtus.pro fans out there, that Big Clan is going to run away with this. But I'm pretty sure the crowd out there would like that.
They'll have no problem with that, that's for sure. They're hoping that's going to be the case. And yeah, really, I think Jamie is a victim of his own success. You expect so much more from him. So
it's also Inferno, right? It's a very tough map to have impact. It's a map that when you're being so defensive as he is, there's not a lot of stuff you can do. You often face a smoke, you often face a Molotov, you know, which repositions you. It's just very tough to be good with the AWP if you're not aggressive on a map like Inferno.
Yeah, and we can also twist it towards Big and give them credit and props too, that they haven't really peaked on their CT side. You see csgo playing aggressively, but then he backs away instantly afterwards. So James hasn't had many opportunities. That being said, though, here comes the aggressive play we're looking for. Now tabseN instantly chips in with a headshot, and that's going to slow things down. There's Molotovs, they're burning alive on the approach. It is going to be another very difficult take, but James has made it maybe a little bit more possible. k1to through the smoke, gets himself another one. He's up to 2 frags for the round, and now James in a 1v4. In the smoke, the barrel of the gun not going to betray him, but k1to triples up on Pool, 13-8.
Great defense by Big Clan. Great defense. tabseN getting the first kill, then switching over to the grenades, not taking any extra pick, not going down instantly after getting traded on. Gets the first kill, falls back, uses utility, sets up k1to for success. Same what he does, right? He's playing that third box side, and he's just making sure that he puts down the Molotov, he's making sure he uses his flashes, and then he's peeking out afterwards when tabseN is ready and when the backup is coming in from Big Clan. That was some great defense displayed by Big Clan, and we're starting to see a pattern here. It's looking very tough for Virtus.pro to crawl back into this game. I think Big have by far been the team that's been playing best. They've had the best, game plan coming into this one, and we also see the individuals stepping up. That, though, was a little bit of a mistake from k1to, and that's an opening for Virtus.pro, and maybe that's exactly what they need to crawl back into this game. They only have 2 AK-47, rest is on pistols. They've invested anything and everything into this round, so if I'm Big Clan, I don't want to give this one away. That was a bit of a mistake here.
Small gap affords him the chance to go for that incursion. Player drops grenades with him. As you say, that does put Big on the back foot. I remember they came into this round with a measly 2 AKs and some pistols, so this would be quite the turnaround. This could be their last gasp to try and pull this game back and make it an interesting one. No rotation through Banana. csgo is watching it by himself with the AWP. Going to be greeted with a Molotov from James. Time again, though, is starting to dwindle away, but they are setting up. Once that smoke clears in apps, they may go for a waterfall. Flashbang out, and here comes a tsunami of terrorists and his kicker that's going to get the first, but tabseN and Centaurez have been left completely untouched, and tabseN and Centaurez going to pick up a full house of frags, and they have just made VP flop again.
That's it. That's it, right? Game right there. tabseN is on fire. tabseN is having one of those games where he just feels it. Yes, it's with the SD, but look at that spray control. Getting first kill, getting second kill, staying alive, coming in with the backup for Shantaris, who also hits 2 very, very nice shots with the M4. And there you go. The star duo of this lineup, the 2 supposedly best players for Big Clan, stepping it up and showing why that is what people think out there. And tabseN again, I cannot compliment him enough for this game. We talked about him pre-game, saying that he has the potential to be one of the best players, not only in Big Clan, not only in Germany. He's arguably the best player from Germany, but he has the potential to be one of the best players in the world. And he's showcasing that right now. And csgo coming in from Virtus.pro here. Shantaris getting a nice double frag. Susan as well with the AWP. There's nothing Virtus.pro can do about this. It's going to be 15-8. It's going to be match point for Big Clan. And at this point, Vince, what do you do if you're Virtus.pro?
I wish I had the answers, Tim. I really do. I feel like...
I thought you were a free-time coach as well, you know, spare time coach, yeah?
Strangely enough, no.
No?
That'll be a huge surprise to
That's
many.
my mistake, man. Sorry.
And rip 7 match points on the side of Big. Maybe this is where you just go for the crazy aggression.
I'm not going to jinx them, right, but we've seen Big Clan throw away worse games than this one. So there's still a chance, theoretically. I'm just trying to keep the excitement levels up out there. We have seen Big Clan do some crazy stuff, so to speak, but I think at this point I'm fairly confident that they're going to win this one, right? They have everything in store for them. All the players are playing well, the game plan is working out, tabseN is on fire, Shantaris is feeling good as well, Virtus.pro is not doing anything. I'm really disappointed right now.
I mean, you have to say that at least half of their rounds have been off pistol rounds.
Yeah.
You know, they won both pistols, so when you look at rifle rounds, Big have been in command this entire game. They're going to be backing away to the site, Molotov's planted down to Banana, stops the push.
That's it. It's going to be the last push coming in from Virtus.pro now. Another slow round, another slow approach, and at this point I can understand why they're not trying to change it up anyway. It's going the way it's been going throughout the entire game. Big Clan is allowed to do pretty much whatever they want. Susan as well. He's only at 10 frags, but I feel he's been trying to be aggressive, right? He's been trying to make active plays with the AWP. Currently it hasn't worked that much, but at least he's done more than James. We saw him just sit back and wait to save or wait to not be impactful, and he was playing a bit too defensively for my taste on a map like Inferno. So there's definitely some demo watching he can do and maybe change up that play going on further to the tournament if Virtus.pro decides to play Inferno once again. Now coming in with the last push of the game, tabseN and Keto shuts them down. That's it, Vince. That's it.
Yeah, that surely has to be the final nail being put into the coffin. tabseN has been boosted up. Keto's gone down. The SG now ripping through the smoke. Nearly claims a second frag. And now Shantaris stands tall. James last man starting not for much longer. And Big in cruise control. Take it 16-8.
What a game that was from Big Clan. I think they can be very proud of this display. We know they just made a roster change. Smooya is no longer part of this lineup. We kind of didn't know what to expect coming into this game, but so far they've been showing great progress. We've seen tabseN back to the level we want him to be at. He's a superstar player. He's the star of this team. If he's playing like this at this level throughout the entire tournament, as you said as well, Big Clan is going to be a big mouthful.
Oh, they're going to be a nightmare to play against. Antares also having some pretty huge performances sprinkled in here and there. And VP on the other side, a team that many would have favored to go the distance, get into the finals bare minimum. That's a wake-up call.
It's a wake-up call, but now they move down to the lower bracket to get into the best of 3 scenarios, and I think that's where they